Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you for tuning into your love read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Modern Spellcaster's Tarot by Melanie Marquis, illustrated by Scott Murphy. For the supportive oracle cards, I'm using the Angel Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Relationship first, single second. Oracle cards come out as needed. Let's go ahead and get started. I want that out there for some reason. Let's see. All right. There's some very powerful cards out here. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what? I think it's the way I'm connecting to the energy. It just feels like there's a lot going on here. A lot of strength, a lot of passion. Passion. All right. This is the strongest card, so we'll start here. This is seeming to be the beginning of the situation. This is the Chariot on your partner's side. They seem to be off doing something. Now, I'm getting with the Chariot, they're away from you in some respect. Either they're working overtime, you're not seeing them as much as you'd like to, or for some of you, I feel like you're just kind of like you expected to do something together, and your partner's just like, I can't do that right now. And I feel like that's the situation. Because I'm getting like you're expecting your partner to be with you at some point. This is how it started anyway. You were expecting your partner to be with you in some respect, either at an event or to help you with something, or you were expecting them to be with you, and they weren't. Something pulled them away from you, for whatever reason. And I'm getting with the Chariot, like this was just the way it panned out. Like to them, I feel like they thought it was this is how they had to handle it. On your side, the card that popped out is the Devil side. Like that's really ticked you off. Like that really pushed your buttons. That really did. Now, I'm getting like the way this feels. If this reading is hitting with you, this is more of a past influence. So I feel like at this point you know if this reading's hitting with you or not. I'm guessing, because they left. They had to do something. You were expecting them to be there, a part of it. You got left on your own to do whatever it was, or you were by yourself, and you were mad. I am getting though that when they just kind of when they left or however that happened, they either got very minimal exposure to your temper, or this was all like you didn't explain it, like you didn't tell them, like you just were very ticked, very angry. But I'm getting one of two, because I see them moving on and doing what they have to do. I just feel like they got minimal backlash from you being very upset. Now, oddly enough, this is in the challenging position. Like this seems to be. I'll pick them up and we'll see. Because this is typically the challenge position. And I'm even getting hiccups. Okay. I'm getting you guys, like what caused this to keep, this is what's causing it to actually be a problem at this point. It's, are you still mad? Yes. You're still mad. Do they know? Yes, they know you're still mad. They're not mad though. But there's action going on here. Same old routine. I'm getting like there's passive aggressive things going on here. Like, I don't feel like there's a flat out argument, but there's just like being kind of a little annoyed with each other. Maybe just like, oh, I can't help you with that right now, and just walking away. Like, just, I feel like there's some passive aggressive, like, sorry, I can't, I gotta go, and then just leaving. Because I feel like that's what you felt they did. And you're mad. You're still mad. If this is hitting, I feel like you're still mad. And the two of these, like, it's weird because these are the same core. You'd think these energies would get along. But I'm getting, like, because you're mad, and you're just kind of reacting the way you are, you're still mad for good reason. But the other side just seems to be, like, going through it, like, all right, then, and then just kind of picks up the pace and just does what they need to do. They seem to be just going on autopilot, just picking up the pieces. It's almost like you're trying to get something off the shelf and something falls and breaks and you just walk away from it and they come over and they pick up and clean up after you type thing. But you're mad. You're still mad. If this reading's hitting, you're mad. You're still mad at this point. But the reason these two coming together is not, it's like a challenge, is because I feel like it's just two people reacting to each other, but not, I don't feel like they're talking it out. I don't feel like they're talking it out, and it requires some talking to get through it. Now, this only goes for so long. This only goes for so long. And I feel like then you're like, all right, listen. You're like, all right, listen. This is how I feel. And then it comes, like, you said you do this, and then last minute you cut out on me, and you left me in the lurch, and I feel like you're explaining, like, why you're mad. You're explaining it to your partner. This is why I'm mad. This is why this. This is, this and the other thing. Listen, I'm telling you, because you said this, and then you did that, and then that's not right. I feel like you're very mad. And I feel like they're explaining, too, like, why they made the decision they did. But you're putting it down, like, I feel like you're giving a very solid reason why you're upset and how this should have gone. Like, I feel like you're playing it out with them again and, like, telling them the choice they should have made and why. And I'm getting they're also standing their ground, especially with the Emperor on their side. Like, I had to do it this way because of this. There's a strong back and forth because I feel like you're saying how you felt. But then I feel like they're explaining more, and I do feel like they're apologizing. And I feel like it's coming back and forth. Like, I feel like afterwards you're learning, like, all right, this is why you made this decision. Like, I feel like it's coming back on more of a positive note at the end. Because I do feel like you're explaining it first, but then you're learning more about the details from your partner's side. The no need to worry is, I feel like this is a difficult discussion. Because I feel like you're very upset with what's going on and how it played out. But I feel like one of the reasons you're really upset at this point is because you're like, is this just going to keep happening? Like, are you telling me that you're going to do this again to me? I feel like that's what you're hearing. Like, you're defending what you did. Does that mean I should look forward to you doing this again to me? Because I feel like that's what's going on here. And you're trying to understand, like, why is your partner making these decisions? Like, what's really making it, so that they have no choice but to, leave you in the lurch. And that's how it feels is what I'm getting. Now, you're pushing back with your partner here. You're telling them how you felt and how you're seeing it right now. This is when they hit this spiritual spot of the Nine of Wands. Because they're seeing the challenge to their relationship with you, the challenge to whatever reason they had to go do what they had to do. I'm feeling they're challenged. They're kind of feeling upset in the sense of, like, they felt they had to make the decision they did. They felt they had no choice to handle whatever situation it was. But you're pushing back saying you didn't need to handle it that way. This could have gone differently. This could have gone better. And they're seeing, like, there's damage in this the romantic relationship with you. So I feel like they're kind of, like, feeling like they're being torn at both ends and they just don't know what to do. Now, I'm getting above them. This is a face down card. I want to know what it is if I can flip it. What's face down here is I feel like both situations, you and whatever this was, they're very cemented into both. And how they're handling things, I feel like this is how they usually handle things. It's just how it added up this time. It didn't work out optimally. It was just a challenging moment because of conflict of interest. I feel like how they handle situations in this situation, well, the situation they left for or had to handle, and they're very cemented in how they handle things. I'm getting like the face down thing, in the sense of like it may be just. I feel like it's just how it added up this time. They've been handling the situation the same way the whole way. The whole way is what I'm getting since it started. And it's just that this time, the way it ended up with you and the situation, they had to go do the situation, and they feel. I feel like they're looking at it like this is how I've always been handling this. It's just how it ended up this time. All right, so we got more stuff going on because I do see you're very forward about explaining how you feel. The Knight of Swords, very active in communicating about how you feel. I feel like even after this conversation, you're explaining and they're explaining, you're still going forward and still talking about it. And you're looking for a resolution. I feel like you're reminding your partner how you feel about them and like how you value this relationship and how they should value it the same way. You know, are we on the same page or are we not? Things like that. And I'm getting... The response you're getting back from their side is the Ace of Cups with the yes, exclamation yes. Like, they love you. Your partner loves you, and you leaving their life is not an option to them. It's not an option. They want you there. They're happy you're there. You need to stay in their life. So there's an issue here to where they're trying to, like... I feel like they're expressing back to you that, you know, definitely, I love you. I want you there. I need you here. I don't want anything to happen to our relationship. I feel like they're expressing that back, and then it comes back to your side. When they express that back to you, you're like, all right, then, what are we going to do to fix this? Because I don't like the way this is playing out. We need to talk this out to figure out, like, next time, because I feel like you're looking at it that way. Like, next time this adds up the way this does, how and why is it going to be handled? How is it going to be handled, and why is it going to be handled that way? Like, I feel at this point you're just like at least have to be on the same page, understanding what you're going to do. I need to be ready to, you know, make these decisions, or, you know, handle these decisions. Hopefully, be an active part of them. You're there with a face down Oracle card, which is in the near future, which is telling me like this gets a lot better sooner than you think. Because I feel like you're looking at this, they're telling you they love you. You are priority one, or you're a high priority, whatever it is. Only reason I think you wouldn't be priority one is like if there's children involved. Then if it's that case, I feel like you're high priority, and like there's just like everybody's at the high priority level. Like it's just who needs your partner most. Even like I'm getting like for some of you, it's like it's a work challenge. Like your partner gets pulled away on work, and you're just like, really. Like, you don't have to be at beck and call, do you? And they're like, I think I do, because this is how I got to this position, and I plan to keep going farther. And if I don't show up, you know, it's just going to damage my career. I have to go. And I feel like you're talking this out with them. They're telling you, especially if it's career, they're like, you are more important than career, but if I don't do these things, you know, we're going to stagnate. Like, for where we want to go in life, I need to keep going so I can keep getting these possibilities. If I don't, I might not get these possibilities. That's why I made the decision I did. I feel like they're explaining that. And I feel like you're understanding that, but you're like, all right, well, let's talk about this and like how we can maybe, you know, set this up so where you don't have to be in that position where it's going to be like this. The near future tells me it gets better quicker than you expect. Because I do feel like, especially if it's a work thing, you trump that. I do feel that you trump that, but they're trying to like work it out with you to where, you know, maybe if we talk about things ahead of time or whatever, or like that one thing where sometimes people are like, well, maybe if I just turn off the phone and pretend I was out of range, maybe we could do that during certain times. Maybe that'll work. Finding ways to handle it so you can still be happy, but understand where they are, why they're doing whatever they're doing. Because I do see this conversation where you're like, all right, well then what do we need to do to make this work out? Because you seem to be here understanding the conflict your partner's having, but you're also feeling a lot better because you're like realizing how much your partner loves you. You're feeling that love. So you're like, all right, what do we need to do to work this out so that I don't feel like that again? Because I don't want to be stuck in that moment again. I don't want that to happen to me again. And it goes further. It goes forward quicker than you think to the spot of the Ten of Cups. Your partner is making this happen, by the way. You're going to end up really happy, but the question is, what are they doing? I'm getting, like, whatever the situation is, and I'm getting, like, there's two really sensitive situations this could be hitting. One is if there's children involved, and the other is if they have a high priority job to where they have to constantly be on call or they're worried about being on call. Whichever it is, I feel like they're setting up safeguards. When I'm getting the Queen of Swords, she's very smart, and she can change situations or, like, be very, I don't want, why do I want to say preemptive? I don't know why. But very, like, set up a plan to where if something goes wrong, there's a contingency plan where they don't have to be there immediately. Or, like, for example, if it's the kids and, like, you know, if something's going to be, somebody has to be available to take care of them if that's an issue. Like having, like, a grandparent or a sibling or somebody trusted that they can call if this person isn't available right away, depending on what it is. Or, like, they can call that person, and then if that person can handle it, they'll handle it. If that person thinks, like, for example, a child went to the hospital, that person can get in contact quickly with you and make sure that you're there. Like, that type of thing. Like, somebody who's in the middle who can handle the situation, deem how important it is, and handle it themselves. Or, like, for example, if they were just calling because they need to be picked up from somewhere, that person could handle that. But if it was something more serious, like a hospital visit, then contact you and be like, hey, there's something serious going on here. Things like that. And I'm getting that with work too. Like, if there's something like that where they're feeling like they have to be at somebody's beck and call, or they have to be available to handle a situation in case it goes bad, they're setting up, like, a system to where other people are in the chain of events and they can make sure that they handle it first. If it's really serious or they're not sure if they can handle it, then push it up to your partner, and then they can handle it if it's extremely necessary. And, like, understanding, like, if that happens, then it had to. And I'm getting, this is your partner doing their due diligence to change the situation, to make it more like, all right, instead of, like, being at the beck and call for every little thing, if it's warranted, if it's extremely serious, then yes, I have to go. And I feel like you're like, yep, I understand that. If it's extremely serious, then yes, you do have to go. But if it's a minimal thing or somebody else can pick up the pieces, then somebody else should. That type of thing. I hope that made sense, because I feel like I droned on about that for a while. But basically, your partner's setting it up to where if they don't absolutely have to be a part of the situation to make it go right, they'll make sure that there's other ways for it to be handled. But also, in the same token, someone seems to be, I feel like they're having somebody, like, keep an eye on it. Like, if it's very serious, then it'll come directly to them after it's been, like, deemed, like, okay, this is extremely serious. And they'll call right away or contact your partner right away to make sure that they can handle it. Like, I feel like the way you're looking at this, and one of the reasons you have the Ten of Cups here, is, like, you're not expecting it to never happen again, but you're expecting, if it happens again, well, that it has to. Like, there's no way around it. Like, if your partner doesn't get this message, it could jeopardize something, and they need to know. And you're okay with that. You're like, it doesn't mean it won't ever happen again, but if it does, it's really serious, and there's no choice. It just, you're kind of on board, like, yeah, your partner does need to know. So I feel like you're feeling better, because I'm also getting, like, here in the past, you might be looking at it like that wasn't something that was that dire need. To you, I feel like you're looking at it like this thing in the past probably could have waited, or at least at the time it seemed like it could have. At least at the time that it happened, it seemed like it could have. But going through the rest of this, you might have learned more of how serious that really was. How it's working out. I feel like you're happy with how it's working out. And your partner's very, very active in working out this solution. Granted, if you weren't as mad, just to be fair, if you weren't as mad as you were, I don't know if that outcome would have happened, because you were very mad. You mean a lot to your partner. That's why all this is happening. So everything is changing, and I feel like a lot of it is like how mad you were, because later on it comes out. But I feel like when it finally comes out, it's more, you're not just mad. You've constructed, like, why, and you've gone through the whole thing, and you've, like, got your whole, you know what I mean? this is just like the motivating start. Like if you didn't have this, I don't think this whole thing would have went in this better direction. Hope that makes sense. All right, that's Sagittarius relationships. Let's do Sagittarius singles. All right. Sagittarius singles. What time is that? Sagittarius singles. Messages for Sagittarius singles, empowering information to help them move in the direction they want to, help them see what's happening so that they can move towards a resolution or a situation that they want. This is going to be interesting. I can see that already. Let's do these. I'm curious how this is going to go. You have some really good cards and some really not so good cards. I'm really not sure what way this is going to go yet, so we'll find out in a minute. Alright, just two. Alright. Now this is interesting how this is coming in. You got the Tower from the past. Now, there's a shock. This is clearly a shock. But this also seems to be coming forward to your future too, a little bit. Like this seems to be... I'm getting the person you're attracted to is a little bit temperamental at the moment and making quick, sharp turns. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's find out, because I feel like I got a little farther ahead before we find that out. I'm getting in the environment, you got the King of Swords, but I'm getting like he's not in the best of moods, and it seems like he's kind of stuck in it. It's like he's in a rut, and he's not really happy. He seems to be pressured. He's not happy. Now, he seems to have made it... Now, I'm saying he, but this is a general reading, so don't get caught up into the gender. It could be male, female, non-binary, whatever you got going on. But I'm getting like this person is really not in a good mood. Whoever it is, really not in a good mood and either brooding or very vocal, one of the two. I don't feel like there's an in-between. Either they're bitching and they're bitching about it quite forwardly, or they're just kind of like brooding and they just seem to be having like a puss on. A puss, as my grandmother would say. A smug, like those are not happy. See, because they're making a sharp turn here in the past, and I feel like you're confused about what they're doing. Because there's something here. This person, like you have a very... I feel like you're fairly close to this person. Because I'm getting the Ten of Cups at the bottom. Like this is already a close... Like it may not be a romantic relationship, but I feel like you have some type of communication or bond with this person already. This person that you'd like to be closer with. And they've made sharp turns in the past. I feel like they have shocked people. But they're really mad about something, it seems like. There's something, like, I feel like there's the actual reason for this sharp turn in the past, I don't know if that's really apparent, because I feel like it's a complete shock. If it's apparent, it's because they're very vocal and they're bitching about it. But if they kind of have that puss on and they're not saying anything, but you could tell they're ticked, like, people don't know exactly why that sharp turn happened. Now, this could go relationship-wise. Ooh, there's like a really... This is an issue. What's going on here? I don't feel like this has to be connected to a relationship, but something changed and this person's mad. And it's throwing things up in the air on them. And I feel like you already have a bond with this person. I also see you kind of being the one... You're moving towards them. Whoever this person is, you're moving towards them. You're the active one. You're thinking, you know what, I understand their life's taking some real sharp turns right now, but maybe if I get in there and help them out. Him, he, she, not binary, however that goes. But maybe if I get in there, I can help them make the situation better. it gets heavier and heavier the farther I go, I'm noticing. This person, if this reading is connecting, this person's going through a lot. I don't feel like the majority of it is public, though. I don't feel like you know about the majority of it. There's a lot going on here. Even if they're talking, you're only getting a certain amount. There's a lot more going on. This person's really upset. And I feel as you come towards them, I feel like they're slowing you down. They have the Eight of Cups, and they flat out tell you, I'm not sure if this is a good idea right now. I'm not sure if I want to do this. Let's put it on pause for a couple days. I almost feel like they're putting like a couple days. Either that or maybe you're coming back around in a couple days. I feel like they're saying a couple days. And you got the Ten of Swords, and I noticed the Tower was touching it, which I feel like the Tower energy is still connected to them. They're still upset. And I feel like they're saying no to you. But they're very upset. They're still upset. It has really nothing to do with you, but they're just not in a place where they want anything to do with someone else right now. They're very upset. And I'm feeling that's why you get the Ten of Swords here. You're really upset about this, but they're also very much in a place where I feel like they're very upset too. Just different reasons. They have other things going on in their life that I feel like you have no idea about. They're very upset about that stuff. You're upset because they said no to you. That makes sense. But I'm getting also, the bond is still there. Even though they say no, the bond is still there. And you got the Knight of Pentacles with the ask for help from others. I feel like the situation with this person, the bond is continuing. I don't feel like you're stepping out of this person's life. And you're trying to understand, because this is where this pops in. The Three of Pentacles in your thoughts, I feel like you're trying to understand what's going on here. And I feel like you're trying to help still. You're trying to unearth what's going on here too. I feel like you're talking with this person more and you're getting more pieces of the puzzle about what they're really upset about. They're still talking to you. They're still acting favorable to you. It's like they're almost ignoring that you wanted to move forward. And they're just like, they're not even like addressing it or dealing with that. They're just kind of like, I have too much going on. I can't do that right now. And I feel like you're also kind of like, the relationship, the friendship, if I will, is still going forward. It's still doing well. But I feel like you're kind of embarrassed that you tried to move it forward and they didn't want that to happen. Because I'm getting the Nine of Swords, kind of like you're a little embarrassed. Like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Because the friendship is still continuing on. The other person here, the King of Swords, doesn't seem to be acknowledging that you tried to get something going there. But even though they're not really acknowledging it or just kind of moving on from it, it still like weighs on you, like maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay. The end card, I feel like this is really good at the end here. But of course, it depends how it hits for you. I feel like it ends well because you have the Ten of Pentacles with the not the right time. I'm getting this is a very solid friendship at this point. Very solid. Very, like, I feel like at this point you've understood what's going on in their life. I feel like at this point you got the rest of the pieces to understand why they're upset. I don't feel like there's a conversation about them saying, well, this is why I said no at the time. I feel like you're looking at it with all these factors and you're like, well, no wonder you said no. I understand. And you're starting to realize it's just not the right time for this to go forward with you and them. I feel like you're feeling better about it because you're looking at the whole picture and you're like, oh, all this stuff is going on? Well, no wonder you said no. I kind of understand now. It makes sense to me. And you're like, and it's still not the right time for it, but you know what? Maybe in the future there will be a time for it. I feel like at the end you're feeling a lot better because the friendship is solid and you know a lot more about what's happening. And you're like, oh, that was going on. Yeah, I would have said no too. I completely understand that. And I feel like that's why it's okay with you. That's why you're like, at the end, you're like, the friendship is still very solid. No damage here. But maybe still a possibility in the future. Maybe. Good? Good. All right, I think we're good. I'm going to wrap that up there. Thank you for watching. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.